thinking about the subject that I was going to get into today. Today we're going to talk about critical thinking on the Daily Summation from Kurt's Religion and Politics. By the way, I'm your host. I'm Kurt, and today is Monday, the 17th of May of 2021. Glad to have you on board, whether it's on Rumble, on the YouTube, or on the podcast. Keep doing that. In any case, again, the subject today is critical thinking, and I got thinking about this, and I thought it probably was a good idea to throw a little bit of a disclaimer ahead of what I'm about to say. And that is this. There seems to be, I put it like this in my notes. I said one of the problems I see in modern society is that people are not taught to take ideas apart. That's what I said. And I began to realize that you have to be a little bit careful about this, because people are going to assume when you say modern society, you're talking about the last generation or the last even 2 or 3 generations. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm actually saying is, if you go back probably as far as the 60s and maybe somewhat before that for a good many people, that ability to take ideas apart hasn't really existed, okay? Or there have been a limited number of people for whom it has existed, would be a more fair way to put it. There's been a pretty small number of people for whom that's existed. Now, I wanted to kind of read the rest of my notes here to get that out of the way. Okay, one of the problems I see in modern society is that people are not taught to take ideas apart. They listen to what other people say about things and fail to do their own consideration. You must learn how to be critical. You really need to approach any and everything you hear from a skeptical perspective. It's true that it's reasonable to take the views of others as a good starting point. In the end, though, it can do you as much harm as good to stay there. And here's kind of where I want to go with this. You live in a world where there are certain things that seem to be pretty certain to pretty solid, pretty concrete to you, if you're like most people. Some people that's not true for, but most people, they live in a world where certain things seem to be concrete. Even if it's that you know that today you're going to have to go digging through the garbage heaps to find food, that's still concrete for you, right? We all live in that place. I have to get food, so I have to go find food. And however I do that, I do that. We all go through that. That's something we all deal with, right? And I'm not trying to take away from you the right to act in accordance with what you know until you learn better. What I'm trying to tell you is that there are many things that you currently, quote, know, air quotes here, quote, know, that you really don't know. It just happens that those things work for you for the present moment, and it's okay to use them because you got to survive. You got to continue to live on so that when it comes time to make a better life, you're still there to do it. And when you're a kid, or even a young adult, there's that need to sort of concrete yourself, to solidify yourself, to make things real in your life. I need food, I need shelter, I need maybe a car or a way to get around, buses or whatever, a bicycle, whatever it happens to be. There's that need to have those things, and in your mind, the way to get those things, you have certain ideas about how you accomplish the things that you need. I need to get up in order to go to school if I'm school age. I need to get up in order to go to work if I'm a worker. Those two, of course, are not mutually exclusive. You can be doing both of them. But the point of all of this is everything you take to be real, everything you take to be actual, everything you take to be concrete can be questioned, and really probably should be. Now, I'm not saying to you stop eating, right? I'm not doing that. I'm not saying to you give away your house. I'm not doing that. What I'm saying to you is look at what you think is real and work to decide whether the thing that you think is real actually is real. This is what I'm trying to say to you. This is what's important, and this is what you need to do. And this is particularly true where more far-flung things like politics, philosophy, and religion are concerned. Okay? Here's the funny thing. I'm a Christian, and I'm a Christian by faith. But if I look at it critically, believe it or not, I can still support my Christianity quite nicely. and I could support you becoming a Christian as well. Not that I'm saying you have to. I don't think that that's something you should force people into being. I haven't even done that with my children. I let them make the decisions for themselves, just like I did in the long run. It took me a while to come to the conclusion that I finally came to, but once I came to it, I found myself pretty solid in what I believed and what I counted to be true there. Point is, politics, perfect example. People like to say the Democrats are the party of the poor. Yet if you look at the policies of the Democrats, the only way they're the party of the poor is in that they help to create them. They actually help to make people poor. When you give people things like right now, one thing that we're going through is we've got these extended unemployment benefits, and I do not believe this is a good idea. And we've got people talking about UBI or Universal Basic Income, and I don't believe that's a good idea. Because what it incentivizes people to do is not be a productive part of society. Why is that important? Because if you want food, somebody has to make it. If you want roads, somebody has to build them. If you want buildings and houses, somebody has to build them. If you want clothes, somebody has to make them. If you want computer services, somebody has to perform those services. If you want lawyers, somebody has to be a lawyer. If you need to go to the doctor, somebody has to be a doctor. And you can't not have those things working and have that all work properly. And this is part of what I mean by critical thinking. People out there think, oh, well, I'm just not going to work. There's plenty out there. No, there's not plenty. Your local burger joint didn't open today? Oh, yeah, you know why that was? One of two things happened. Either their staff quit because they felt like they were overworked and underpaid, overworked and or underpaid, right? Or they couldn't hire enough people to keep the doors open. Okay? That's why. This is critical thinking. This is being skeptical about things. If you want to say, well, I'm a skeptic in terms of believing that they couldn't find enough workers, then I urge you to sit in the office of somebody, a hiring person at a given local burger joint that's not open at the moment and watch and see why. I urge you to ask them. I urge you to go there and do it. Being critical, being skeptical, thinking critically, thinking, really considering what's going on, not just being willing to accept things as people tell you they are. That's totally fine and acceptable. That's totally fine and acceptable. I expect of people who I deal with, and particularly of my children, for example, nothing less. I expect my son to tell me that I'm wrong when I'm wrong. And I expect him to explain to me what is right and why, and I expect for him to be able to do that. And that goes for all of my kids, not just my youngest, right, who's still at home. My children, I've done my best to teach them to think critically, to step away and with the detachment to look at what's going on around them and to actually learn why certain things are happening, why politics is what it is, why philosophy, why people have said what they've said in terms of philosophy, why people believe what they believe in terms of religion. These are all things that I've tried to get people to think about, and not just my kids. I want everybody to do that. I don't want you to decide on Republican ideals because I'm a Republican. And I don't want you to decide on Republican ideals or concepts because your parents were Republicans. And I don't want you to be a libertarian because it sounds good and there's nothing more to it. I want you to take the time, and obviously I can't require this of you. I can just ask it of you. I want you to take the time, tear things down, understand how the world works, come to understand human nature, come to understand why people do what they do, what people will do if left to their own devices, what they do when other people get involved with them and get them thinking about things. This is what I desire for you. This is what I want, because this will set you free. They say the truth will set you free. Well, the problem is you have to find it. And you can't find it if all you're doing is listening to other people and figuring, hearing what they have to say and not thinking for yourself, not looking at things for yourself, not being critical, not taking the time to figure things out. So this is what I'm trying to say on today's Daily Summation. I am, as I say, the Daily Summation is from Kurt's Religion and Politics, and I am your host. I'm Kurt. Today is Monday, the 17th of May of 2021. That means tomorrow will be Tuesday, the 18th of May of 2021. Thank you for everybody who's been on Rumble in particular, on the podcast on YouTube. Thank you for coming and joining me today. Today's subject has been critical thinking, and tomorrow we're going to talk about your own mind. And this is sort of a follow-on from this current discussion, but it's going to be an interesting and unique discussion all on its own. I hope you're doing well today. I hope things are going well for you. This beginning of the week, we're getting a little bit of rain here, but otherwise it's a pretty nice day today. Not quite as warm as I'd like, but that's life. Again, I hope you're doing well. Hope things are generally going good, and hopefully we will see you again on tomorrow's Daily Summation. The speaker on this edition of the Daily Summation is Kurt Schubert. This video was recorded on Monday, the 17th of May of 2021. The Daily Summation is created for Kurt's Religion and Politics. Thanks for watching this edition of the Daily Summation from Kurt's Religion and Politics. I hope you found it entertaining or instructional, or maybe both. If you want to see more from me, you can go to blogs.kpschubert.com. That's blogs.kpschubert.com. I am on Twitter, Parler, and Minds.com. My handle on each of those is @kpschubert. That's @kpschubert. I have a Rumble and a YouTube channel. They are the Kurt's Religion and Politics channels on Rumble and YouTube. I have a Facebook page. The Facebook page is Kurt's Religion and Politics as well. I am on Patreon. If you want to support me, that's one of the better places you can do that. And you will find me at Kurt's Religion and Politics on Patreon. I have a podcast. The podcast is podcasts with an S. .kpschubert.com. That's podcasts.kpschubert.com. I think you should be able to find me with relative ease on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify as well. The best way I find to do that is to look for Kurt's Religion and Politics. You can try to use the Daily Summation. I find that it doesn't work as well as a general rule, but you can always try that. I'm glad to have you aboard today, and hopefully we will see you again tomorrow.